Good evening, welcome to the Monday, November 25th of 2024 public meeting of the King City Land Bank Board of Directors. My name is Mike. I serve as the moderator for this call. We do ask that members of the public limit their comments to no more than 2 minutes per speaker. And with that, I turn the meeting over to Mr. Nate Hennigan, the board chair.
Thank you. Hold on. Agenda. Okay, here we go. Roll call. We'll start to my right.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Holderness,
Project. Sorry, board member.
board member.
Sarah Delberto, board member.
It's so much board member.
Barbara Needings, board member.
Nate Hennigan, board member, and going to Zoom.
Paul Hines, board member.
Nailed it. All right. I will entertain a motion to accept the prior meeting minutes as uploaded to YouTube and approve the current meeting agenda.
Motion to accept the prior meeting minutes as uploaded to YouTube.
And approve. the current
And
meeting agenda.
approve the agenda.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Great. Board chair announcements. So I'll keep it relatively brief. Obviously, our big announcement is our push that everybody has been working on for the Keystone marketing campaign for Stefan, Abby, Gill, and Chapel. So I know there's going to be updates and some more stats for everybody during the ABC report, but I think we can all agree so far the marketing campaign seems to be going really well. I feel like we are getting better and better at this each time, or at least trying new things each time. So far so good. But everybody I know has really everybody's pitched in one way or another. So thank you all for your hard work. Thank you, Rebecca, for the Radio Kingston ad, our Instagram updates and boosted ads. Thank you, Aaron, for really jumping in on those. Back on November 8th, we had our event at Rough Draft that I think most of us here in the room went to. I think it was a big success. I talked to some great people who were interested and happy to see us out and about. And even if we didn't have like a big crowd there, I think it's great just to like have our name out there, and even people who didn't come and talk to us, like there's people coming and going in Rough Draft all the time, and just seeing us there in the community is really great. So good to keep doing that. Barbara and I were supposed to do Facebook Live Porch Chat today, but that got rescheduled till after Thanksgiving, so stay tuned next Monday at 1 doing that. Thank you, Barbara, for the logos show. Flyers, if anybody wants some flyers, send Mike an email.
There's still in the box. There's some in the box downstairs.
And some right here. So if anybody wants some flyers to take, put up wherever, take some. Beautiful.
I get a beautiful flyer in the mail. It was very exciting.
That's Kyle.
Nice job, Kyle. Thank you for that. Hope everybody saw the big billboard up over at People's Place. It's really cool to see too. Lots of great media highlights too. The mayor's newsletter, Rupco's newsletter, that's Valley One, Daily Freeman. So yeah, it feels like we're really clicking. And thank you, everybody, for all your hard work on that.
Mike and I are going on the radio show.
Sure are. We were going on Michael Berg's Family Time.
Oh yeah. Aaron,
Next week, I believe, on the
So I'm
3rd
gonna
or 4th.
try to say you too can be a median income household owner.
Great.
And if you're not sure what that means, just ask. Don't be embarrassed.
I like that delivery.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, have fun. Aaron and I did it. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. Yeah, so keep up the good work, everybody, and the campaign's going well so far. Looking forward to more of the updates on that later on. And then we're also going to talk about this later on too, but our holiday event on 13th. Looking forward to seeing all of you there. Should be a fun time to hopefully bask in some of the hard work we've done this year. So
It's gonna be awesome.
Perfect.
Surprise at the bottom.
So, I agree. Second that.
That's so ominous. I started having ominous. It'll be surprising.
Surprise.
The best holiday way.
Yeah. So with that, I don't think we have any members of the public here, so we can jump ahead through public comments and go on to the executive director report.
Sweet. Thank you very much, Nate. Good evening, everyone. Nice to see many of you in person that I only see in little tiny rectangles. So it's good to get out of the house too and see other people, to be honest. Especially when it's getting dark so early, to lose track. So I categorize, as always, into our pipeline, our pre-development, our,
Sorry, before you
yeah, of course,
Join says she's trying to get into the meeting, but the password isn't
it has not changed.
Okay.
It is exactly
I'll
what's
text
in
it
the
to her.
invite. Yeah,
Hold on, I'll send it to her then.
Okay.
You can keep
thank
going.
you. I'll talk slowly, but not saying anything too interesting anyway. But so pipeline pre-development sales, funding opportunities that we haven't yet secured. Once we secure funding, it goes to the finance committee, and then other, which is everything I forgot to put somewhere else. So for the first time in a long time, I think we can start talking about the actual numbers in our potential pipeline. So these are identified properties or potentially identified properties. Previously, we've been quiet about it because there hadn't been announcements on the municipal side around what those numbers could look like. I don't mean to say that it's solving problems. I don't mean to say that it's secured. I don't mean to say that it's something that we can rely on in a near-term way, or that we've identified something that was totally different than last month, but we can start to talk about numbers. So very interestingly, I'll start with resolution number 66. There's still one property there. It's 24 Belmont Street. This is a vacant site that we have not identified the funding to clean up, do something on. Say that because the punchline is the next one. So the city announced last week that it will be commencing Article 11 tax foreclosure proceedings starting in January. So the comptroller at that meeting had said that his number of pre-foreclosure properties was 75.
Wow.
That number could change. That number could go, probably will go way down, like way down. So I just want to set expectations. We have a number. That's exciting. We still believe that the land bank will probably have to wait 2 years before we can perform capital improvements on anything that we were to receive of that. So setting expectations. Similarly, Article 19A, which is the vacant abandoned proceedings, I have no updates on the progress of that, but the number of properties, I think I said last month, I may not have, is 7. So adding those two numbers together, and then the third piece that goes into this total number, which is 95, which is up from 20 last month, but I haven't said the number, is our pending, the council's pending ruling or response or vote or approval of the Grand Slam RFEI. That's why it's in the package this month. It's gone through a task force. There'll be more slight updates at ADC to talk about it. That was 12 units. So that's where we get to our numbers. I will also say, as I do every month, the National Community Stabilization Trust has not offered us any properties this month. So the number is still 0. It remains 0. No updates from them. We remain hopeful. Pre-development, 4 properties, same as last month. However, I did give some updates on 3rd Avenue, which I now recognize may have been a bit premature in my pessimism. But 3rd Avenue, Kyle and I conducted a very short notice interview with the Mid-Hudson Regional Economic Development Council on the 22nd. Thank you, Kyle. That was great. I won't go too much into it, but I will say that we were also told that awards will be announced the 4th quarter of this year or the 1st quarter of 2025. So that's back in play. Similarly, updates related to 3rd Avenue, the City of Kingston made a public presentation this month related to the city's Kingston Industrial Business Park, which is directly adjacent to the 3rd Avenue site, and highlighted in the materials they distributed at that meeting that there would be approximately as many as 200 new residential units available to be developed, given the plan that the city is moving forward under. And the 3rd Avenue, I believe the presentation said, could be a key to the city's plan for how to integrate that into the community and do other things. So that's an exciting update on 3rd. I'm sorry, what I said last month. It's not entirely true, but I'm happy it's not. So, also, it never stops. As soon as you think you know something, it's like, no. So, the city of Kingston also announced a municipal bond RFEI for which we potentially could be a candidate to utilize time on a project such as this. That is due January 6th. Kyle and I will be working on that following, taking a break, figuring out everything else we have to do. So next update would be the home HDEV project we have submitted. That was an update earlier. Thank you, Kyle. But we received a request for additional information that will be submitted back to HCR by 10:30 tomorrow morning. So that's great. We have that buttoned up. We feel like that's good progress in the past month that they've responded. They've asked some substantive questions, and it means that it's moving forward. Property sales. I will change the way that I'm kind of talking about this. I think it makes sense to keep the disposition part of our dispositions in the ADC committee. I realized that like in a stupid way, like late at night when I was working on this package. So I will echo Nate's thank yous to say thank you to everyone. Rebecca for the ad. I won't go through the whole list, but everyone that Nate said, but I will also highlight some opportunities maybe for the board to jump in that are emerging or merging and then going away and things like that. So Wintertide is an event on the 30th of November. Thank you, Ethel, wherever you are, whenever you watch this, I'm sure it will be soon. I don't think that we're actually going to do that now because we've been asked to stand outside. So for 3 hours being outside is different than going in the space that we thought that we could go, but we still might do it. And I know some people are planning on maybe just attending to see it. So that's an opportunity, potentially. Also, one of our former purchasers previously had connected us with her religious institution, her church. The pastors reached out and left a voicemail. I've enjoyed going on Sunday to go do that. I'm going to get back to that person soon if anybody has an interest.
I will, Mike, it's fun.
It's a lot of fun. They're very supportive. We've gone to several, maybe 3 or 4 churches, but this one in particular reached out. So if anybody wants to do that, with Aaron, or if Aaron is free. Yeah, no, I think that's sweet. You mentioned, or Rebecca mentioned the family time opportunity. We're looking forward to that. Thank you for prompting that. It's like, hey, what if we did this thing? And we talked on the phone and then within 5 minutes we were booked. So happened very quickly. I'm really happy. And the storytelling aspect of it, I think is going to be great.
You know, maybe grab 5-10 minutes on the phone, make sure,
Yeah, of course.
and I'll say something.
It'll be great. The other piece I will highlight just as a part of our engagement for the campaign is the public info session, English and Spanish via Zoom. Registrations are open now. I think we have almost more registrations now than we've ever had before. So it'll be big, it'll be packed. It's very well attended. It's a dialogue back and forth at the end with some Q&A. And so thank you, Kyle, for going through that with me. We've just finished our presentation draft earlier today.
Where's
great.
that happening?
Zoom,
Oh, so
the interior world of Zoom. Yes, totally. It's
But what day is it?
the 5th of December, which is a Thursday at, I believe, 6 p.m. Kyle?
5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Saturday?
You guys know better than
I think it's 6. The registration saying 5.
It does say 5.
I thought I tweaked that. You told me, you noted that I got it wrong. Anyway, it's at 6, so it'll be at 6.
On Thursday, December 5th.
There's, on the website it says 5, the registration says 6.
The registration itself says 6, but the website,
It says 5.
got it. That's what it is. So it's just on our calendar. 'Cause I thought,
On the /homes page.
oh, there's the typing part.
So if you registered, what day did you think it was?
No, it's still the same day. It's just, I think Bartek is saying that on the website, like the text on the website is saying 5 p.m. because that's originally something in my
We
brain.
just want to make sure that people that registered.
No, what time is it?
Yeah, when you go to.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'll tweak that, but when you click on the register now button, it does take you to 6 p.m., which was the intended time. I made a typo on the website. I'll tweak it. Sorry. Well, there's that. The other part of the campaign stats will come up at the ADC committee meeting. Okay, potential new funding opportunities. I've talked about it before, but now it's coming. Hi, Joanna. Welcome. Fast and Furious. $2 million of LBI funding for the next application is something that we have just learned a few minutes ago that we must apply or try to apply by Monday. So we'll do that. Here it comes. Yep. The delayed timing. There are many things that we've considered and that we've talked about in committees and talked about potentially throwing into this bucket. A lot of it has to do with the timing of what's available to spend first so that we can get to the next stuff and we don't get locked up applying for something that we can't do for 2 years. And then we can't apply for another round of funding. So currently, we're looking at the home HDEV pre-development at hard costs. We're looking at new acquisitions, and given this movement around Third Avenue, we might want to consider putting in for starting up the pre-development, allocating more money to that. There's no penalty for putting properties in. There's a process that's much more cumbersome for not having the properties in your application and trying to add them later. So we might also be looking at other properties, hopefully, that we can just add addresses to that list.
If we were to add properties, do you assign like dollar values to property? Like, is it an issue if we say, oh, we're gonna spend X amount of dollars on Third Avenue, we have to spend less or more?
We've moved it around a little bit. There is an application where you say, I think this much for this category of expense. So like this much for a demo and this much for pre-development, and this much, and then you can move around between them. We've managed that after the application,
And then is there any,
after the award.
and then the question of properties that we don't yet know the address for?
Mhm.
So that becomes very
I'm gonna
complicated.
write the city of Kingston. I think we have a plan to get through that.
Okay.
It is a weird place to be in.
Okay.
It's okay. It's gonna be interesting. Thank you. Second, potential new funding opportunity remains the home HDP, for which I think I've given all the updates that I have, other than just to underscore, we're responding to clarifying questions tomorrow. So that will be back to them in time for them to continue their analysis. We're hopeful maybe a February award. That's what I hear. Last, under my other category, I did want to highlight some of I put this silly material in the board package, but I think it's interesting that the Federal Reserve San Francisco put out a report on alternatives to single-family home ownership, meaning co-ops, condos, CLTs, something else that I don't know the acronym for, and it's just kind of neat that they're looking at all of that, so I thought you might find it interesting. Owen, who is not here, I wanted to thank you for the long, arduous process that happens every year of getting a snow removal contract. It doesn't seem like much, but yeah, if we don't have it, it will, I'll tell you what that means. I'll give you a very good price, that's all I'm saying. But there's no other alternatives. It doesn't happen every year, but it feels like it does, that we get very close to when it starts to snow and we get this. So wherever you are, Owen, thank you for that. We are putting in for the first time a component of our ARPA requisition will include direct support, so allocation back for salaries. It's the first time we've done that. It's been a new process, and I want to thank Stacy for putting that together. That component of our ARPA application is not something we've done before, so not that any of them are easy, but like it's just a new wrinkle. I know you and I are both happy to settle that question that we've had the whole year, which is when do we make this application? So there's that. I was just going to ask about the holiday event. Rebecca, is there anything you need help with? I know you said that there's some ominous surprises maybe, or you hinted that things, is there anything we can do?
What would be really helpful is after, we're gonna go see the space,
Tomorrow.
right? There'll be a series of things that need to be picked up on the day of, and I'm sure that we could just use some setup help. So once I see that event space, I'll know better what we might be able to do to make it more festive. Right, so I don't know what kind of furniture is in there. I have no idea how big or small or lighting or anything else. I've not been there, but tomorrow I will be able to answer those questions. So my real favor would be when I send out a request for, would y'all just say yes or no? Like, yeah, I can help, or no, I can't, or whatever, just so we don't have a sort of sweaty mic running from one end of town to the other.
You will, regardless.
But, you know, and also I have some questions from the staff about, or whoever from comms maybe about, are you gonna run pictures? Do you have a screen? Or is there any kind of media that you're gonna use at the party? So if you just want to shoot me an email so I know what you're thinking of, you know, anything like that, walkthrough, photos, the reel, you know? Is there anything that you want to do like that at the parties? If you'll just let me know. Otherwise, I think it's really going to be nice. Please bring your +1, you know, come and eat. It'll be really a nice party, I think. At least that would be my intention. And I sent out the list of vendors, so if you're in any of those places, just say, hey, I'm with the land bank. Thank you so much for being part of our party this year.
Thank you.
Yes.
I hope it'll be fun. I'll be really embarrassed if it's not.
It'll be very good. Two more things, or at least one. I would just, again, highlight the 10th of January is our annual retreat. If there were, Stacy, Kyle, Owen, and I are working on topics for that, in addition to overarching sort of presentation that Nate and I traditionally give. If anybody thinks of anything, if there's any,
Traditionally.
I know, I'm trying to, for the public, for the Zoom. All right. But send us topics if you think of anything.
Yeah.
Does it take
It's
two?
still
to be a
true.
tradition?
It's still true. It's just fun.
Sorry, go ahead. That was it, flyers. I have flyers here if you want flyers. That's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Moving on to the committee reports. Start with ADC. Aaron.
Great. So the first thing for ADC is always not here, and I'm also having trouble using the password to get into the Zoom room. I was gonna try to do that to share my screen. Password isn't working.
There's a sharing key up there that I noticed for the first time. I don't know if that means anything. That's not mine, but
Anyways, it's just because Owen's not here, I was gonna share his thing. There's really only one aspect. I can do it verbally and I can circulate if you want to know. The one update that Owen had is a large change order for contingency at Grand Street in the range of 60. Hold on. 63? No, wait a second. 69%, the number here is not quite right, looks like. 69% of the total contingency for Grand Street. And it has to do with making the second floor of the attic occupiable and needing to add some new structural elements to the facade, so that the second floor has the requisite structural elements. Because when they took down, I think some of the material that was there, they realized that it didn't, and it was, I think, just being held up by like the floors, right, the front.
it was like an exterior exposed porch and now it's becoming an interior bedroom.
Yeah.
That's my understanding. And so that it may have been built correctly for a porch, but now you're gonna live there.
Overall, it's still fine. Contingency for all the other properties is for most is under 10%, including several that are negative, so it's not a huge thing, but it's a big change from last month. And that's actually really it. There was still Stefan and Gil are still slightly behind schedule. I guess Gil had been behind schedule. Stefan is now slightly behind schedule too. He thought they would both catch up. He wasn't too concerned about it. But yeah, that was it for Owen's updates that he gave to us. Kyle, should we do the financing updates for the Keystone?
Sure. Let me see if I can share my screen.
They may have changed something here in City Hall with Zoom, because I can see a sharing key I haven't noticed, or you just figured it out. Never mind. Just making it up.
Cool. Everyone can see this then?
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So this is actually a slight tweak from what was sent in the board package based on some discussions today, since this was sent out. But yeah, I think this kind of tracks with what Aaron was reporting about the project. Everything's going along relatively smoothly. The only major thing to report here is that we are starting to draw down on ARPA funds in addition to LBI funds, which have been the primary funding source to date. We're doing that in part because we're running down on LBI funds that we have allocated to certain projects. Let's see where the balance at Abbey, for example, is down to 50,000, it's getting pretty low. And we need to spend a portion of ARPA funds on each home. And then in part, we want to just increase the ARPA funding by year end so we can hit some targets with the grant deadlines. And so, yeah, not a ton to report here. We're at, after this pending rec, we'll be at 65% drawn on LBI funds. On our total grant, we expect to hit 75% total next month, at which point we'll be eligible to apply for new funding. Or to, yes, new funding. Happy to address any questions. And this is the full project, and here are the individual property balances. But yeah, we hope to submit requisitions before Thanksgiving for LBI and beginning of the month for ARPA.
Thank you, Kyle. Great. And then I'm told that you have the up-to-date updates on marketing, applications, submissions, all of that.
Yeah, so campaign has been going very well so far, I'd say. Just in terms of website hits, we've got like 4,000 hits to our page since the campaign began. We've seen a few spikes with our newsletters, press coverage. The Facebook campaign's been pretty big for us, and we've had some consistent increased traffic with the billboard up and the mailers. A little hard to tie what exactly has been successful for us so far, but this past week we've had 28 new registrations. That brings us to 126 so far in this round. RUPCO has been in touch with 11 of these total registered parties so far, and they've made progress with 3 of them. We're still waiting to finalize some of these applications and get a larger pool of qualified buyers, but that's where we stand so far. Have a big push coming up with the info session, and we will report back with more updates.
Thank you, Kyle.
Do we have a sense, can I ask, do we have a sense of RUPCO's process for reaching out to the households?
We're not entirely, Mike, I think we were discussing this today. We know they reached out with an email to everybody that we have provided on our who filled out the registration form on our website. But we're looking into more about their specific outreach that they do after we've passed the contacts along to them.
Okay. They've only reached out to 11 of the so far, you said?
It seems like they've done some outreach and the 11 have responded.
11
back.
responded?
Yeah, so our understanding is they've probably done outreach to all 126 people we've provided so far, and then 11 of them have been more substantial leads that have actually started the application process.
That's a good problem.
Yeah, I think it'd be helpful to know like what their process is. That's a pretty big number difference.
We'll have to ask them to confirm. And sorry, Kyle, I know we talked about this today, and I was just jumping to share my scatterbrain thoughts on it. I think what they told us was 11 applications have been sent out and 3 have been returned to them. But how they're reaching out to get from 126 to 11 is a piece that we don't exactly know. I assume it's an email, but I'm not sure, because they have emails and phone numbers to contact people. So
I would be very interested to know if it's a one-pop email.
Yeah.
Like, do they only get one response, or do they get one and then a follow-up, or,
Yep.
You know, especially this time of year, it's a real glut. I don't know about your email box, but my email box is glutted full of stuff, and so I think it would be easy, you know, about the holidays to lose track of something, and I would hope that they were really pursuing people, because that's a big discrepancy.
Yeah, not to mention, like, if someone's registering with Kingston City Land Bank and they get an email back from RUPCO, they're not exactly gonna understand that they're
filling out the
needed.
subject line,
Yeah.
how it's actually framed. That's
So,
we'll talk.
I assume they're putting phone numbers in the registration that like, we should. I just wanna make sure there aren't people who are sending their registration and think,
There's something else coming.
yeah.
I actually wonder if they can see, depends on if the individual sending the email and how they're doing it, if they can see who's open, how many people have opened the email. They might be able to see that, which will help give us some information.
We check in with them every week when we send new leads to our registration page. Maybe Kyle, we could run down some of those questions and have that answer out to the group next week.
Do we send something when they register to the person that registers? Does the land bank send something to them, explain what will happen?
I don't think it sends them an email. I know it gives a confirmation that you have registered. There's like a page that pops up, but it doesn't like follow up with an email because that would start, at least what we found is that starts a communication where it's like, oh, I talked to the land bank about this. And then it gets like a little distorted as to who's responsible for the next steps. We want to make sure that it's clear. It's not us doing the processing, it's.
I mean, I don't think it's worth changing that. I wonder if we, in the future, we could have that thank you page, the confirmation page, if there's a way to change the Google form, like automate it to say,
I think so.
look out for email from Go,
Yeah.
whoever our
Yeah,
agent
it's
is.
very good.
But even if I don't really want to change it midstream right now.
Yeah.
In general, I think we've needed about 100, right, it's about 100 signups of the form to get to like one fully, mortgage approved qualified applicant. That's a number that it could, because you could get 10, 4 of those 10 could get approved. So it could be any number, but in general, I think that's fair number. So we have 3 right now that they've returned the application. That doesn't mean they have pre-approval yet or anything like that. We're gonna, the holiday weekend is this weekend, we come back with 2 weeks, December 15th. That brings us, that will reach that date before the board meeting, December 15th. So there'll be, I think, probably before then, online discussion about whether we need to extend the campaign another 30 days or however much. Okay. Hopefully not. Hopefully we have enough qualified applicants and it's a matter of, again, picking some names.
And remind,
Just what, I'm sorry, did you say when you're going to discuss whether to extend or not?
Oh, I just said, because it has to happen before the next board meeting, it'll probably, I let Mike and Kyle reach out via email, I don't know, a week before, so like December or something like that.
Right, I mean, that's just, there's a fail-safe moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
give people another 30 days.
and remind me, we set a date for when then individuals have until to submit applications back to Repco before I guess it depends on.
Totally. So if we hold the lottery January 27th, which happens if we don't extend the campaign, Repco has until January 22nd to get us all the qualified applicants. So we have 5 days to sort of look over the material and make sure it feels good to go into the lottery. That means that the applications have to be completed by January 15th. But that doesn't mean that we're not setting the date that when Repco sends you an application, they say, this is how long you have to send me your pay stub. Like, we don't get into the details of the process of finalizing the application, but people know that they have to have a pre-qual letter by January 15th and have a completed application by then. But it's sort of like we're not getting that much into the Repco. How do you get from, I've sent you an application to you're ready for the lottery? That's kind of what we're paying them to do. It's the idea.
Okay.
Right, because I guess the other option is we don't extend the campaign, but we do extend the time period for Repco to work with households.
Could be another
There's
way.
different.
Yeah.
there's-
Totally.
If Repco's like, just need like.
We have 12 more who will qualify.
Totally. In my experience, I've seen a lot more responsiveness by who we're working with now as a homeownership counselor. So they originally in the first week, had distributed X number of applications and then they're starting to get them back. Historically, that's really not started to take place until after our registrations. If that makes sense. After our registration period is closed. So it does feel like it's moving in the right direction more, but that's a really good point to say, if you needed more time, do you think that you would get more responses? And maybe the answer is yes.
Two of the things I want to publicly say thank you to Repco for boosting our campaign with social media posts, which they did. And I don't think we discussed that beforehand, so that's great that they did that. It's very kind of them. The other question has just evaporated from my head. So
It'll come to you.
yeah, okay, fine. the last thing, for ADC, Mike mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, we heard back on the grandstand bar. Unfortunately, the committee, what do they typically refer to as? The committee?
Task force.
Task force. The task force committee, chose another proposal. There were 5 proposals. They're actually all in the board package. I think Kyle and Mike put together a great proposal. There were several, excellent proposals, and we appreciate the task force consideration. The mayor, then after the task force made a decision, the mayor communicated that decision to the common council with a letter and asked the common council to do their own due diligence on the feasibility of the proposal. There was some discussion at a committee meeting last week, and that process, will, I think the anticipated time that we had heard before all of this took place was that they probably disposed of the property early in the new year. So all of that is ongoing. Because we did not get the property, we have proceeded with construction on Grand and Hasbrook, specifically related to the garage in particular, because the garage there was a question about lot lines if you were to get it. But now there's no reason to hold back, essentially. So that is ongoing. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Mike, for your work on the application, and everyone should take a look at the applications that were received. And we look forward to working with, or communicating with, once our campaign is done with the awardees, because we obviously have a vested interest in that corner as we're going to sell these properties. We want to make sure that we're being good neighbors to them and they're being good neighbors to the people who will be living in those houses. And I think that is it for that.
But things are still in flux, somewhat in flux with the application process.
In the sense that the city has not disposed of the property, the city has not sold the property to them yet, to the co-op concept was a winning proposal. The city has not technically sold them the property. The common council in their committee meeting there was some discussion about wanting to see the applications and review them or even interview all the applicants. We have no idea how that conversation between common council members is evolving. That the process that we have been a part of, like the public process with the RFEI, that is, as far as that is basically resolved, and they didn't choose us. What the common council does now, they could do something that we don't know about, that we don't understand, until we don't know about until they tell us. But, there's no reason that we have, no good reason that we have to think that this won't result in the co-op concept, I don't get that name wrong, getting the property.
Cool. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I wish they were called it the coop. I wish it was the coop.
Is it the
I
coop?
thought it was called the coup.
It is
It's
the
not?
coop.
It's the coop.
It's the coop
Yeah,
concept.
just,
Okay. The coop concept.
now you know.
Because
There we
I'm
go.
cheating.
I didn't know. The coop. Also putting together a really good proposal, so. And that's it for ADC.
Great, thanks, Aaron. Moving on to finance and audit committee.
Traditionally on Mondays, we go over the reports with fine tooth comb. They were always beautiful. So here's my exceedingly brief. The Keystone project is running smoothly. From an accounting standpoint, we processed one LBI requisition and the funds were received on 11/1/24. All operating expenses are in line and with the budget. My assessment is that it's a quiet month as we finish out work, grant, requisitions, and preparation for audit. We are already laying out our shoes and getting dressed and getting ready for the audit. So we're going to get in there early, which is a good thing, before everyone else lines up with their audit. So we're also working with the same audit people, which will make our audit even more streamlined, more efficient, and more elegant. So thank you, Stacy, for that. We also have snow removal. We're very excited. So I commend to you that there'll be more a flurry of activity towards the end of the year as many things that we have planted come to fruition, from the sales to other applications to requisitions and other kinds of other kinds of accounting complexities, which are part of the land bank's, accounting environment. How's that? We are reviewing possible healthcare plans and scenarios. I wonder if that won't be affected by ongoing shifts in the healthcare market or other kinds of things that might have to do with our current fiscal and political environment. So we'll do the best we can in reviewing it. And that is my. Any questions? I probably can't answer them, but Stacy. Stacy, I miss anything? You're muted though.
I'm sorry, it's sometimes hard to hear. I'm not sure if anybody else on Zoom is finding that, but I feel like, can you just repeat what you just said, the last part?
I said, do you have any, I said, we're working on healthcare plans and scenarios, and that the whole healthcare market may be experiencing changes soon. So we'll keep an eye on that, but it may take us a while to get through that process, I would think. So, and do you have anything else that you think I missed, even though you didn't hear anything I said? Is there anything that you think is important that I might not have said?
Nope, I think you got it all. Thank you.
Okay, great. And it is hard to hear on Zoom. It's amen.
Okay. It's like a fishbowl, it feels like. Yeah.
So should we move to accept the treasurer's report? Does someone else do that?
Yeah, is there a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion, to accept the treasurer's report.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Great. Thanks,
Okay,
Rebecca.
great.
Moving on to the Communications, Community Engagement, and Fundraising Committee.
Well, we did meet, but we pretty much already discussed all the stuff that we talked about, which is all the action items. I think at the time that we met, the total applications received that we received thus far are pretty low, but we got a lot more since the committee met, which was last Friday. Was that last Friday? No, I mean like last week ago. Right. Owen's video walkthroughs were great. So great job, Owen. Great job, our video editor.
Thank the Zoom, because it's not me, but they like it, Aaron.
So I think the one thing that I wanted to talk about tonight was how we are inviting individuals to our holiday party.
Totally.
And whether we need a little graphic invite to send out, or whether we're doing something more public. Which probably, I don't think we are, but just wanted to bring that up. So that's coming up. We should probably send it out like next week.
And I think we've talked about this in the context of who the heck are we inviting and things. So when we talked about 50 people being the limit, so I think I went through the numbers and it was board plus one, maybe. So that's like 20. Staff plus one-ish, so that's 5 or 6. We're getting about halfway there. Council, which is I think 10, plus 1, so that's 50. So we've invited the council as like Nate Nyson.
Oh, you already did?
Yes,
Okay.
like, hey, come to this thing.
Okay.
Nothing very fancy, but also like, please don't forward the invite because we don't want to know you. I think we talked about not doing like social. I kept like logging into our newsletter and then closing the tab because I was like, we're not doing that. And I kept getting ready to write, not doing that. Was there any other, and prior purchasers.
Right.
And that is the email that I'm working on drafting, but it could include a graphic or something. I just haven't been able to focus on it.
Are we inviting anybody from REPCO or the people that
We
are?
totally should. It's
Yeah.
a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, we have 100, space for 100.
Space for 100, food and booze for 50, I think, is what we planned. But
Yeah.
they can bring their own booze.
People are gonna come in and out, like, we should definitely invite Repco.
Totally. Thank you. Anybody thinks of
Any
any
former
more?
board members?
Yes, we gotta see that. Guys, it's not a holiday party. As is tradition.
I saw here, in terms of community partners like Ulster Savings, Radio
Totally.
Kingston,
What was the second one? Radio Kingston.
Radio Kingston.
That's a really good.
Yeah, what else? We have until December 6th, I would say, to up quantities.
Oh, for things.
But more costs more, so it would also up the budget.
Should we let the KCLB trust and just really throw it?
Wear their shirts and have the
Yeah.
signage and give them our shirts and it's just exchanging code. Very good.
Wasn't in my vision.
That's not the surprise.
It's not a surprise.
Okay.
Thank you for
I
bringing it
can't
up.
think of anyone of another. Major group.
Is there a graphic?
Could you just say again where it's going to be hosted? Is it at Masa or no?
It's at the Fuller Building
Okay, right. Thank you.
in a party space. Hopefully, it's not a garage, right? Or- No, it's a party space?
It's a nice space.
Yeah.
It's a nice,
Okay.
yeah.
We will definitely take a look at it.
Maria.
Maida.
Totally. Well, if we invite them, we have to invite dynamism too, right? Or other
Yeah.
GC.
Oh my goodness, we need some.
I know.
I say order more food.
We're gonna need some more food.
Better to have more.
Yeah, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, it's better to have more, of course, but at the same time, like, a lot of people are busy, like, not everyone can make it.
It's not a dinner party,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? But we'll,
As long as there's enough booze, and it sounds like there is.
we'll work on that.
Okay.
I just think, my question was a graphic question, like, is there an actual invitation graphic of some kind that we send people that says where, when, and, you know, like an invite, or is it just an email?
Sounds like it's just an email so far.
Far. The other ones that we were talking about would just be personalized, like the Rupco would just be like, hey, I know you, I work with you. We could produce a graphic.
We could do an e-bite that
Sure.
has like an RSVP, so at least there's some sense.
That would be good. Yeah.
That'd be smart.
Hey,
I think if I was
it's
an
like
artist,
learning how to throw a holiday party.
Okay.
So I'll send the invite to include the board and then we'll have actual.
I'd send it to all the people that we've already.
Yeah.
Good cheer.
Because, yeah, if not everyone may not necessarily be bringing that plus one, even though
Totally.
they're not on a lot.
Yeah, we don't figure everyone will leave, but what you don't want is everyone staying there with an empty cup.
Or what you really don't want is like not enough people come. And then it's like just kind of lame.
It'll be lit,
Mike's gonna be there, so it's gonna be.
totally. Go nuts.
That'll be
The
great.
charades, if it's really small,
That'll be
you
great.
play radio,
Yeah.
name this a house.
That's the only other thing I wanted to mention.
Cool. Is that it for comms? Anything for governance?
We did not meet. I think we're meeting next month. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Governance.
We're gonna review the thing that we sent around online about intellectual property or whatever it was.
Yeah, I gotta update that. Well, we're on to design, so I'll mention that.
Didn't, what was supposed to do a second reading of the conflict of interest change?
Yes, but after governance meets, we will do that at the next board meeting. Thank you for remembering.
Oh, right, it wasn't on the agenda because you were waiting on the other thing, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, we'll do a second reading next time.
but that's resolved now. Maybe, might
Yes.
not. We'll resolve it then.
It's like getting married. to
We're
a new
nailing
fan.
it. It's really killing it today. All right, moving on to design. Thank you for mentioning that, Aaron. I still have to make changes to the volunteer agreement. So I'll just update that and email it around. It's probably easiest. So stay tuned on that. We did not meet this month either, but design committee will aim to look at the design handbook again, give that another once over. teeing that up for discussion of the committee at the retreat as well, along with just like general approaches to design going forward, because it's gonna probably look a little different with our different approaches to different houses, so stay tuned. Photo repository, I haven't actually checked. I know I uploaded some photos to our Dropbox. I don't know if anybody else has uploaded any. I tried to organize it by like property and date, so it's a little easier to follow.
I'm sorry, I just screwed that up by not, because mine was so disorganized that when I uploaded them, I was just like, I don't know how to do it. It's gonna take me so long.
It's really-
to do that, so I put separate folders that was just Aaron's photos.
That's fine too. That's fine too. To the extent people can, just because I think it'll be easier
Yeah.
going forward, put it by property if you have stuff you want to share. I know Owen's doing his house tours with people next week, so people may, when I go around, I'm gonna bring my camera that we had photo tripod last time, so I'll take some more and upload it as well, but if anybody has photos after Owen's house tour and wants to put them in our repository, that'd be great. I know Owen's been taking some too. I haven't checked actually, but when I talked to him, I said, try to, if you can, get like the same angle so we can see like a progression of the houses. So I think he's been trying to do that. And I think that's it from design. Public comments, we still don't have any members of the public. So with that, we will move on to new business and officer elections. Right, any other new business you want to talk about? No? Okay, great. Then jumping ahead to officer elections, Mike circulated the position statements for everybody. To try and keep things as above board as possible, I think we should, we'll still do written ballots, but I thought perhaps since it doesn't seem like there's going to be any drop-down candidates, I could entertain a motion that we could vote for all 4 positions on a single ballot rather than doing them one at a time. If there's a motion.
Motion to vote as an entire slate.
Great. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Excellent. Did we bring paper?
When is it?
Pieces of paper may be kind of small, you may have to write.
You just write yes on your piece of paper?
I went for 4 names. Yes.
Or yes.
Originally, that was it.
Yes, me. Yes,
Yes,
me.
So you ready?
No, I'm
Just
not.
take one and pass it around.
Road A.
Take one and pass it around.
Thank you. Maybe to borrow a pen from somebody too.
I think those are the biggest ones.
There you go.
so let's go with that.
Here, I have a couple.
Howard, virtual. Yeah, for those on Zoom, I don't know, you want to email your ballot to Mike and Stacy for posterity?
Bartek, will you vote for me?
I thought this was a frisbee. I was like, what?
Oh, no.
It doesn't work.
That's my name.
Can we literally just vote yes?
So, I mean, unless people have write-in candidates, just a reminder,
Exactly.
I'll just read through everything. So, for the chair position, I'm running for reelection. Basically, everybody's running for reelection. Aaron is running for reelection as the vice chair position. Rebecca has indicated that she's running for reelection for treasurer. And sadly, because Bartek is termed out, he will not be running for reelection, but Barbara has stepped up to run for the secretary position. So there were no other named or candidates who expressed an intention to run. So the 4 positions, chair, vice chair, treasurer, secretary, you can feel free to write in the people's names, however you want to do it. Fold it up, drop it in this bowl,
was gonna say, throw your pen back in there, please. So the only times I have.
But this is a good reminder that the appointments. I don't, that's okay, it's Nate, me, and Ethel.
We do?
I think we're, did
I
we?
thought we talked about this last time, and we didn't actually have to do it this.
I don't think you have to worry about it, but I'll confirm that.
It's 3 years
3 years is each appointment, you can do two appointments.
and you can be reappointed.
Yeah, so 6 years total.
6 years total. Just until you really get tired.
Exactly.
So there's a process of being reappointed, and that's what we're gonna talk about in the next meeting.
Maybe.
We're at the retreat.
Like you in a motion.
This
Oh, okay.
Bartek has done it 6 years and is ready to move on to bigger, better things.
Aaron, you have to go. We should talk. You're good until December 31st, 2022.
Should be like a chair
I think
position.
because you were replacing someone who had left before their term expired, so you were finishing the end of their term. It's like all the debt,
Wait,
Andrews. I'm just reading what it says on the.
and when is yours?
Mine's ended 2025, which is weird. I feel
That's a
like we
4-year
should-
appointment.
Yeah.
Because we both entered 2021.
Controversy at the end. I'm just reading the appointment letter.
So the entire past year, I've been a fraud, is what you're saying.
That's the word being
December
run.
2025. You were appointed 2022 for a 3-year term. You were appointed 2022 for a 2-year term because you were replacing a board member who had left. before.
They reappointed me after 1 year.
I was appointed 2021.
Oh, you were, so then
Yeah.
that's.
They reappointed me after a year.
Because you
I
took
took
someone
over
else's test.
someone's term.
Yes.
Yeah,
Weird. How do they decide, you got, how do they decide who gets what?
I don't know.
The board member who was leaving because they were, like, someone would have to leave because they were moving away and the remainder of that person's term was the one that the next person would fill. It was chaos.
So who else joined at the same time? I know it was Minya, on the board. Was Ethel at the same time as us?
No, she was a little.
She's later, okay.
Ethel's expires December 31st, 2025.
Okay, she's got a year.
I'm stuck for ages.
Sorry?
That's what I just got here.
You're gonna outlive us all.
Wait a minute, it says no term forever.
So,
Alright, everybody votes in?
Here's the roll.
Everybody's votes
Here
are
are
in?
Mike's pens. We're gonna give you a box of pens for Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, would you like me to read?
You don't have to read it out loud, just count it. Tell us who wins.
Okay,
You could send us an email if you're stressed.
no,
it's gonna take a while.
So here's so I'm trying to figure out what the media thing is gonna be like, if we're gonna look at like, but run videos of the house tours and stuff, so people could look at them. Like create, that's what I mean by
Videos, or
like
the
a
media.
reel, like it just runs.
Or the professional photos that we
Yeah,
have.
that'd be
We also
great.
have quite a library of those.
But then, my opinion about music is that the music last year was much too loud. And I'm
I
not quite, huh?
I agree,
Wasn't,
but I'm an old person, so.
I also think music is always too loud.
so maybe, and I don't know what, so I will investigate what the venue has in terms of music equipment. But maybe we just need a nice jazzy Spotify channel or something like that that's a little bit lower key. Unless you don't think we need to be hipper than that.
It was loud.
I don't know whether.
It was so loud. Oh,
What
yeah.
kind of music was it?
I don't know.
It was definitely a Daniel Cantor special.
What kind of house music over, it's kind of,
We'll just put on like a Christmas.
yeah.
Christmas
Yeah.
serious,
Yeah.
Christmas jazz.
Okay.
Yeah.
so the votes are in, the votes are unanimous. Congratulations, everyone. You've all.
Congrats, everybody. Thank you.
Project, we can connect on what your templates are like, and, I'll continue the legacy of your, your secretary
I'll send you an
procedures and work. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yay.
Look forward to it. That is it, except for to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion. To adjourn.
Is there a second? All in favor? Great. Thanks, everybody. Good meeting.
You.
Thank you.